Very happy that you could be here with us tonight. I'd like a motion to enter into an open meeting, of course. This is going a little. And Mr. Pan is the second. Do we all agree? Right. And we're in budget. And Ms. Field, would you like to begin?
I would love to. Thank you so much. So this is our annual budget hearing. This is a summary of all the work that we have been doing together since January. So I thank you for your time. If you are watching at home and you have any questions, Katie Jensen, one of our communication specialists, is here, and you can contact us via communications@nccsk12.org, and we will look to Katie to see if there are any questions that come in during the evening. We always start with our mission statement because it guides everything we do. We like to think that our budget should be in line with our values as a district, and our values are always thinking about our students, making sure that their work is relevant and challenging, and it contributes not just to their academic growth, but also their social growth and development, and that we're all working together, the adults in the organization, to continue to grow, build our collective capacity so that we ensure that we are providing a high quality, relevant, and equitable education for all our students. We work very hard to make sure that our budget development is forward-thinking, that we're prioritizing our equity, collaboration, and collective responsibility. We are always thinking about the well-being of every student so that every decision we make, especially as budgets get tighter, it's always rooted in what will be best for our students. So if you have been with us for a while, you know that we have been growing in enrollment. We continue to grow in enrollment just at a slightly slower pace than we have in the past. And we have watched over the years our bubble go from the elementary schools through the middle school, and now our bubble is firmly sitting in the high school. So if you look, the projection for next year, our elementary schools across all 6 buildings is down by 10 students. So we're going to call that pretty much even. It's pretty flat. Our middle school is down by 11 students, same thing, pretty much flat. And where you see the growth, because this is that bubble we've been tracing, is the high school. The high school is projected to be up 72 students next year. So as we look at staffing, just as we have over the years, we have to think that we have a greater need now at the high school level than we have at the other levels. In the past, we had to add the extra sections. We lovingly refer to them as the bubble sections at the elementary level in order to deal with the growing enrollment, and now that's hitting the high school. So overall as a district, we're still projected to go up by about 55 students. So we're still, the norm in upstate New York is declining enrollment. We're not there, but we're not growing at the rate we had been growing previously. So as we know, staffing is the main cost of our budget. We're a people business and we're people heavy. So we have 3 new staffing requests this year. And we are adding 3 positions all to the high school to deal with that growing enrollment at the high school. But we're doing all of these through transfers and shifts where we no longer need positions. So every single one of these 3 new positions will be accomplished by shifting where we don't have a need in the budget, or in our enrollment, and so we add no new cost to the budget. So we're adding 1.0 to the high school technology department because of the enrollment growth. We're actually transferring someone from the middle school who is technology certified to the high school, so there's no new FTE added to the budget. We're adding 1.0 to Shaker High School business due to enrollment growth. We're shifting 1 position from the elementary. There's no new FTE. Now what we mean by that is obviously an elementary teacher is not moving to teach business at the high school. But we have the last of those bubbles, believe it or not, right now in 5th grade at Forts Ferry. So when those students graduate from 5th grade this year and move on to the middle school, Forts Ferry will go back to a 3D school. We don't have the need for that extra section anymore. So that 1.0 FTE that was covering that bubble, that section moves to the high school. The good news is, because we have retirements and resignations at the elementary level, no one loses a job. So the person who is covering that has a job somewhere else in the elementary program in our district, and we cover the need for business without adding to our budget. We also have a need for 1.0 in the FACS program at the high school, and we are shifting a 1.0 position from the elementary again, because that's where they're declining in enrollment. And we are eliminating one section of kindergarten. It's hard to believe that the numbers are coming down that much. So Bout Hills, which is a 4-deep school, they will go to 3 sections of kindergarten next year. Even with just 3 sections, with all registrations done and all outreach done, even if every kid who could possibly come in the Bout Hills zone came with 3 sections, they'd still only be at 18. So that's a lovely kindergarten size. So that section gets eliminated again. There's another position for that teacher. No one loses a job, but we're able to switch that position to the high school. So we cover the growing enrollment by shifting rather than adding to the budget. Even though times are getting tighter, and Dr. Carey will be up soon to tell you about the shifting sort of canvas of state aid and money is getting tighter, we are always, when we said our budget process is about being forward thinking, we're always thinking about what else can we offer? What other possibilities are there for our students? And I think we've done a pretty great job this year because we have 6 new programs and opportunities for students that come at no additional cost to the budget. So that's the work we're trying to do through partnerships with local colleges and universities and thinking differently. How can we continue to offer but not continue to add to a tight budget? So we are very excited. As you know, we have had pre-kindergarten in the district before. We have always done pre-kindergarten through a third-party vendor. This year, because we have space in our elementaries, we're going to run our own pre-K program. So we're going to add a pre-K section in district taught by a North Colony teacher who is certified in birth through 2, which is a lot of our elementary teachers. So we're really excited to be able to do that. With that, we will actually gain revenue because right now the state reimburses at a rate of $5,400 per student per class. The governor has proposed that that will go to 10,000 students per class. So with that, with the aid the governor is giving us, it will cover the cost of a teacher's salary. And we're not hiring a new teacher, we're repurposing. Remember that kindergarten section that's going away becomes pre-kindergarten, and then we get aid on that teacher's salary. So it's really a win-win for us because we can serve more children in the district in pre-kindergarten. We have a great elementary bikes in school program. We piloted it this year at Forts Ferry. This is in conjunction with Russell Sage College, and they are helping us with the donation of all the bikes. So through our PE classes, our elementary students will all have the opportunity to ride bikes and learn how to ride bikes. So we love that because not all families maybe are able to do that, and now suddenly we'll make this that is available to all children, and all children will learn how to ride a bike and how to ride a bike safely. Also at the elementary level, we're very excited to bring to the district a K-5 Learn to Swim program. We also piloted this last year at Latham Ridge, and this is a wonderful opportunity. It will be after school and it will be in the evening for next year as we pilot it across all of our K-5 students, but we'll run several sessions at no cost to families where children will learn to swim. And we know that people might use the Y or other agencies, but that comes at a cost. This is a service we'll offer to all of our families. And the great news is we also have several high school kids who through our PE classes have earned their certification as lifeguards. So our students will be able to be lifeguards in the program, and our elementary PE teachers will be leading out on the Learn to Swim program. Very excited about that. At the middle school, we are offering a new section of unified physical education. You may know that recently Shaker High School earned recognition for Special Olympics being a banner school for our inclusion efforts. And in previous iterations, what we would have is we would have an adaptive physical education class for students whose needs would not allow them to participate in a traditional PE class. But what that does is it separates them. And we really think about, when you think about our unified sports teams, if you've seen anything of our unified sports, it's pure joy. Our students who are our typical students who are able to work alongside students with disabilities and really help them. It's the same model, except it's going to be their actual PE class. The good news is the middle school counselors have been working to see who are the kids who might want to do this. So they're actually interviewing kids like, do you think you might want to go into a helping field? Might you want to be a teacher? This might be a course for you. We have more students who want to volunteer to be in the class than we need. So that's a wonderful thing, so we think we can expand that. At the high school, we're going to be, there's a new requirement for personal finance. We have, in our business program already, we have a finance course, but we work with the College Board and we're certified now, so we're gonna be teaching that at the AP level. So students who are in high school can get college credit for their initial kind of 101 business class. That saves families money when kids go to college, so we're very happy about that. Also at the high school, we're doing an elective in our health class called the Introduction to Sports Psychology. This is really interesting. This is something that came from student voice, students saying that they really wanted to think about like competitive athletes and the stress that they're under to really perform and the way it can affect their psyche. So they really wanted a course in this. Our health teachers really worked together to come up with a really good program for sports psychology. But we wanted to do it without adding additional FTE. So Dr. Trzanski worked with Mr. Statlander, who's the head of the health department, and said, could we design a health class for summer school where kids would take it in the summer for first-time credit, not remediation because they hadn't passed the class. So this is what I like to call a win-win, because there have been kids for years who have said, we would like to take health in the summer so we can have freedom in our schedule to take an extra elective because we're jammed and there's a lot of things we're interested in. So A, yes, now there'll be kids who can take health in the summer, so they'll have more opportunities during the school year. But B, by freeing up that section and having one less section running in the school year, that becomes the section that will be sports psychology. So this comes in as a new course with no impact on the budget. And then we're very excited, this last class at the high school is Introduction to Microchip Design and Semiconductor Technology. Right now in the Great Northeast, we are at the epicenter of microchip design and semiconductor technology. This is a very emerging field for students in terms of jobs in this area. We need students who have high-tech skills. We are one of 10 high schools in the area who've been selected in partnership with RPI. So this course is going to run with RPI. Our kids are going to be doing work on our campus. Our kids are going to be doing work at RPI. And this will give them not only the skills that they need in microchip design and semiconductor technology, but it will also open the door and introduce them to the businesses in our area who are in this field. So that will also be opening doors to possible future employment. That is also coming with existing staff teaching that course. So we do not need to add to the budget for that. So all of these come as, maybe a little cost for supplies, but no staffing costs at all. And elementary, middle school, and high school having new opportunities. So we're really proud of that. So if we look at our summary, we have the 3 new positions at Shaker High School, and I think this is the first time I can remember that we're coming to the board saying we have 3 new positions and they come at no cost to the budget. We're not adding to the budget. We have the 1 new UPK position. That's going to be accomplished, as I said, through shifting a position. And while there's no new cost to the budget, there is anticipated revenue of $92,000 up to $180,000 due to UPK aid from the state. So if that's not included, the governor's idea of $10,000, the minimum we'll get is $92,000. If the budget gets passed with the $10,000, we'll get $180,000. But remember, because we're shifting a teacher and not hiring a teacher, that teacher was already in this year's budget. So that doesn't cover the cost of the teacher's salary. That's actually revenue to the district. And more importantly, that's 18 more kids who have spots in the district for UPK. We've talked a lot in this budget about the need to recalibrate as state and federal monies go down, and knowing we have a very supportive community, but being mindful of what the tax rate should be given the fact that everything seems more expensive now. So we have the ability this year, through some thinking, through attrition, to reduce 5 positions. So no one loses a job, but we shrink the overall staffing, which really grew and expanded during COVID, by 5 people. So these are jobs where people have retired or resigned, and we no longer need that section or that position where numbers are going down. So we'll reduce 5 positions. We have the 6 new programs that I just described with no new staffing required. So overall, we have 6 new programs. We have $0 added to the budget for new staffing this year. We have a savings through those 5 positions of $500,000, and we have earned revenue of $92,000 to $180,000. So we feel like we've done a very solid job of continuing to grow, to look forward, to add opportunities for students while contracting the budget, saving money, and finding new revenue. So now, to get into all of it and how all the numbers add up, I'm going to invite up Dr. Perry to go through the proposed budget, the 3-part revenue, expense, tax cap, and contingent budget.
Okay, Harry.
Yeah, this
Thank you all.
Let's get into this budget. $64,581,354 is what we're asking the public to vote on. It's a 6.02% budget to budget increase. A lot of factors are playing into this year. Much like our homes, the school is seeing the same increases. Health insurance and physical and liability insurance. Our energy costs are predicted to go up next year. We're dealing with electric almost 23%, natural gas is predicted at 20%. And then just the overall market in itself, the tariffs, interest rates going down, price of consumer goods. So we look at our 26-27 part budget. This is where we take all of the expenses and map them out into the administration program capital budget. In the end, we see a small decrease administrative budget year to year, and a small increase program budget year to year, as well as capital. So it ties out to 6.02% increase overall. We're looking at the revenue budget. A couple things here. You'll see property taxes going up 3.9%. We'll get to the cap in a few slides. Right now, as we sit here today, I've not heard that the budget has been passed at the state. We're in an extender through today. We did learn that signs are looking like we're going to be seeing a budget soon. There are some amounts of money for additional spending that's through table targets that have been being talked about. That usually signals the end of the budget cycle. And it looks like education may be getting $85 million more. Where that comes into play, we don't know. And again, this is not news that's out, it's coming in through organizations. You'll see on this revenue slide, we're seeing an increase of 3.32% foundation aid increase, which is above the new minimum of 2.0 at this point. Increase in interest earnings. We project that the market rates will go down, so we had to pull that in a little bit. It's actually stayed flat longer than expected, but we're seeing, we took out $150,000 from there. You will see, to balance the budget, we're using a little bit more appropriated fund balance and reserves in this budget. Fortunate to have them, so we will.
I think one thing that I just have to keep note, because this budget in some ways is the canary in the coal mine of things to come. So although we are grateful to be up at 3.3%, many of our colleagues are not, that dollar change of $1.1 million is the lowest increase in fact, even though we're at our highest enrollment, it is the lowest increase we have gotten in foundation aid. Last year, we were at about $3 million. So it is a significant decrease, even though our enrollment continues to grow, which is why we're not at the 2%. But those are hard numbers to balance, and why we have to really think carefully and make the moves that we made in this year's budget. Looking at where we could reduce, saving $500,000 in the budget by taking advantage of attrition really helps to balance out when your state aid number comes up that low.
On the expense side of the house, we're seeing small increases in salaries overall, larger increases in fringes. This relates directly back to our both retirement increases as well as insurance increases. You can see that utilities going up almost 10% projected. And insurance, again, we talked about 32% projected. Down on the bottom, you'll see some large numbers moving in interfund transfers and equipment. That really is where, just a function of where the buses were budgeted for last year, and for this year rather than next year. Previously, they had been budgeted in interfund transfers. They will sit in equipment for next year. That's the number where we're seeing a almost 264% increase in that volume. The property tax cap. So this is what allows us to set our tax rate at a simple majority vote versus a super majority. When we run the calculator this year, we start with our prior year tax levy. We add the tax-based growth factor. We add the pilots from the previous year. We exclude the prior year capital exclusions, and we get a number, and then we add the levy growth factor to that. We add back out the pilots, and we add in the capital exclusions for this year. We get to $103,085,098, or 4.689% increase. That would be the total allowable that we could ask the public for, without again going into a super majority. We're going out at a 3.9% increase, trying to take into account just what we talked about. Everybody's costs are rising. How do we manage our costs as well as understand what our taxpayers are going through as well? So in a proposed budget summary, $164,581,154 budget, 6.02 budget to budget increase, maintains all existing program and staff. We're proposing the tax levy to go out at 3.9, which is below our allowable 4.69%. And I do want to make a note that the actual impact to the taxpayer may be less than 3.9 when it all washes out, and that has to do with the growth that's projected in the town. I worked with the assessor earlier after our last meeting, and he really said it's too early to project what that impact would be, so you're responsible to put that out publicly because there's a lot of moving factors this year, including some large things that need to be decided. They're currently with the board review pending. But he did let me know that 250 properties were expected to raise in value, and 55 properties were expected to decrease. So we'll know that as we get into the tax rate season once all that plays through. We have to list a slide or talk about a contingent budget. So this is if our budget goes down under New York State law. We can adopt adopting a contingent budget is confined to the previous year's tax levy, effectively 0% tax increase or tax cap. We would have a $3.8 million shortfall to handle. But we would do that by reducing, and there's a whole program and process that we would reduce program staffing. We would potentially ask to use more fund balance, and a combination of both. And again, a contingent budget would restrict the purchase of our equipment, capital expenditures, use of facilities from outside entities. There's a whole by law what you kind of do. So we hope we don't get there, but we do have to list that. Again, $3.8 million in that. This is a screenshot of the annual election ballot, election and budget vote ballot. There are 2 board positions and 1 proposition for the school budget. Budget vote and Board of Education election, May 19th. Here's Goodrich Building, the district office, 91 Fiddler's Lane. Starts at 6 a.m. It goes till 9 p.m.
And people can mail in their ballots.
As well, yes. Yeah, on the website, you can also, there's signs around the district, or you can call our board clerk, Emily Trombley. She will get the information to you.
And if you don't make it in the mail, you can drop it off in the box that's right out front up through election day. So you do not have to come in person, and it will be easier.
This is, you said a screenshot of how it looks, so no problem with the balls.
No problem with the bubbles. Bubbles were checked.
Much better, much better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you. Thank you.
So as we think about this budget vote, you know, I've been reflecting a lot on this budget, and in some ways, this is a different budget for us. You know, I've been in central office since 2010. That is 16 years. I can't think of a budget where we came to the board and didn't ask for new positions. So this is the first budget that I can think of in 16 years where we didn't ask for new positions. We are reducing by attrition 5 positions, and again, that means nobody loses a job, but where there are vacancies that we can think about other ways to do things, we are doing that. And in that way, it's different, but what is the same is, I think it is very aligned with our mission. And our mission is always, from where I stand, thinking about a great public school provides as many opportunities as possible for all children. So we worked very hard and we started thinking about ways we could do things differently. So partnerships with Russell Sage, partnerships with RPI, bringing in programs in different ways so that we could still come to you and say, we have 6 great new things that are gonna be really exciting for kids and help out families. You don't have to pay to have somebody teach your child to swim. You can take a new course and that means that's one less college credit you have to pay for. Those kinds of things are what we've always been committed to at no cost to the budget. So we've been very careful, as Dr. Carey said, in balancing, you know, we could obviously go to over 4.5% in taxes. And you always want to be mindful because every year that you don't go to the tax cap, you start with a lower base the following year. But we really are aware that these are tough economic conditions. And so balancing how could we reduce to put less of an impact on the taxpayer, but still maintain the quality, the opportunities for all children and families. And I think we've done that. So in that way, I think it's very similar to what we've always done with budgets before by focusing on our mission and serving all children. So I would like to thank the whole central office team and our administrative team for the work that we have put into really coming up with something that took a little bit more work than previous years. But that's what we do, right? You know, you get a challenge and you say, okay, how can we solve this and how can we solve it differently? And that's what the world is asking, and quite frankly, that's what we should be modeling for our students. So I appreciate the board and the support of the budget.
Kathy, I have a question. I know you mentioned that, well, Brian actually mentioned that you don't anticipate any reductions from the state when the budget is passed. Are you pretty confident in that?
Yes.
I know you're just taking a guess, but
We through all of our organizations have said, like, so we saw a drop from the January to the February runs,
Yeah.
but that it would not go below that, so we are confident.
so that foundation maybe is pretty
Yes,
much lower.
correct.
Mrs. Iredell, would you like to go first in terms of?
Well, I would just like to say, I think out of all of the years I've been here, this is really one of the most
Yeah.
exciting.
Mhm.
You and your central office team have done phenomenal job in doing all of those things that you said. You're bringing programs to all of our students, all cohorts of our students. And they're all exciting programs. I think, and at no cost, with no job loss. This is probably one of the best budgets that I will give forward.
And I would also like to thank, we would all like to thank Mrs. Iredell for her. We really appreciate that. We're gonna miss you, and we just thought we'd say that tonight.
Thank you. Yes, you know, the feeling is reciprocated.
And they do know about. Yes, the budget is, it's a very thoughtful approach to budgeting. It's very responsible, it's respectful to taxpayer. And again, as you said, very much aligned, the resources are very much aligned with the mission. We know how hard this is. We all know. And we are very fortunate to have you, the skills, and Dr. Carey, and Mr. Stein, and this great central office staff. Because I know that, you know, again, it's important for them to, you know, support your work and your vision. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Mhm. Okay. I will take a motion to re-budget and adjourn. Mrs. Jeter, and I will take a second, Mr. Hannon, and all in favor. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.